Hey everyone, Hala P here with a very special guest, Hala J, my daughter. She's going to help us do our very first unboxing video of the ZTE Blade V8 Pro. So without further ado, why don't you go ahead and open the box. I'm giving her the honors because this is going to be her phone. What do we have inside there?
A phone.
Oh.
Wow, I didn't expect that. It has
What else do we have?
a plastic film over it.
Okay.
And
What else
then
is in the box?
whiteness.
There's more in there.
Are you sure about that? more whiteness. Well, you get a charger.
Charger, okay.
Yeah. Like the outlet and then the cable.
And the cable, okay.
And then just like boxes.
Is there anything under that box? Nothing?
No, I can't pull it out.
Okay.
And then there's like an envelope thingy.
What's inside there?
Thank you for choosing ZTE and all that stuff. And
So
then
to register your warranty,
and then a quick start guide.
which nobody uses.
Sure. I didn't know all this.
Okay. And there's one little thing on the box there too. The envelope. What is that?
Well, it's a piece of metal. Oh!
Uh-huh.
Useful.
What were you just making fun of? Do you remember what it was called?
No.
SIM card tray eject tool.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a soda thingy that you pop open.
A tab for your soda can. Okay. All right. Go ahead, take the plastic off. Let us know what you think of the phone first.
Well, it's heavier than my current phone, but it's very small.
Is that good or bad? Do you like the way it feels?
Yeah. It feels
Like
heavy.
like it's solid built, or
Yeah.
like it'll fall apart if you drop it.
No, like solid.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like flash.
Okay.
By the
So
hammer.
let's go through some things here. That's easy for me to say. Okay. First of all, size. Height 6.14 inches.
Mm-hmm.
The width is 3.03 inches, and the thickness is 0.36 inches, or just a little over 9 millimeters. So not the smallest phone in the world, but also being a mid-range phone, I wouldn't expect it to have the thinnest materials or be the smallest one. So the size of the actual phone, do you like how big it is?
Yeah,
Where do you keep your phone usually?
in my purse usually.
In your purse? So it really doesn't matter what size it is
Because
then.
my pockets are too small.
Because someone like me, well, because you're tiny, yes. Someone like me who has bigger pockets,
Yeah.
this is about as big of a phone that I would ever get as a 5.5, 6 inch to me. I've tested the Huawei 6P, the Nexus 6P, and also the, what was the other one that I tried? I can't remember, but either way, both 6-inch phones that I've tried were way too big to fit in my pocket. 5.5 inch to me is about the perfect size phone. Okay, it weighs in at about 185 grams. Like you said, there's some heft to it, right? That is approximately what the Axon 7 also weighs, if you're familiar with ZTE's flagship product. So, but it feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. The display size is 5.5 inches. Okay. It is an IPS LCD display, probably the best display that you can get for a 5.5 inch 1080p. The IPS LCD is excellent on battery. It's excellent quality, and you can't go wrong with that. Display resolution is full HD, 1920 by 1080. And that comes out to 401 pixels per inch. Okay. Display protection so that you don't scratch it, or it's nice when you put it in your purse and all the things you have in your purse won't scratch the screen, is the Corning Gorilla Glass 3.
Or like when you drop it on the ground.
Yeah, like when you drop it on the ground, right. That too, it's important. The frame around the outside is made of metal. The back is a rubberized texture feel, right? Do you like that, or do you like the feeling of my metal phone? better?
I like the rubber
You like the rubber better?
because then it doesn't like.
It doesn't slide out of your hand as easy?
Yeah.
Okay. And the front does have the 2.5D curved glass display, so it may not be very easy to find a glass screen protector to fit this phone correctly. I know there are a bunch of other models that have the 2.5-inch D, and there's all kinds of issues with getting the glass to come to the edge and not cover part of the display. So keep that in mind if that's something that's important to you. Okay, now on the side, or is it on the side, a little hole?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is the SIM card tray.
Right.
And that tray is very similar to the one you see on the Axon 7 or the Axon 7 Mini. It has 2 slot options. The first slot is a nano-sized SIM card slot. The second slot can be a nano-sized SIM card slot, or it can also act as a micro SD card slot. Do you want to try and get that open with your
Sure.
soda can tab? Yeah.
Oh, wait.
And ZTE tells me that the SD card size you can put in there is up to 128 gig, though I believe others have already shown, just push. I believe others have already
Okay.
shown that you can put bigger cards in there, but that's what they are owning up to. And there is, oh, yeah, nice. Hold that up for the people.
Okay. No, what if they're like animals watching?
So your standard SIM card tray, dual. If you wanna, if you're traveling, it comes in handy. Or if you want that extra storage space, then that's also there for you. Okay. Slide that back in, and we'll change to the cameras.
There we go.
On the back, dual cameras, both 13 megapixel, one monochrome, one color. Now, what that does for you is it gives you the option to take normal pictures like you would on any cell phone. It also gives you the option to take true 13 megapixel black and white pictures without having to use some sort of filter in the software. So I'm interested in seeing how the quality of the black and white pictures show up, because it seems like that might work really well. What that also does is allow you to get a bokeh effect. And what that does is, while the color camera is focusing on whatever item you need to focus on, the black and white camera is measuring things like the depth and the other objects that you have in the picture, which allows you to artificially adjust focus to only focus on the one thing you are on, and everything in the back becomes like a dull, unfocused picture, which makes it kind of a cool effect. That's something else that'll be fun to play with. Some of the features of the rear cameras are face detection, continuous shot, auto HDR, panorama. There's a sport mode. It does use phase detection autofocus if you're interested in what kind of autofocus it's using. And there's also various filters, which I'm sure this one will want to use and to their full effect. The video mode features, it shoots in H.264 format. There's slow motion, there's time lapse. The resolution choices are 640 by 480, 720p, 1080p, and this bad boy also does shoot in 4K if that is important to you. The frame rates are 30 frames per second in normal scene. It will go down to 10 frames per second in a night scene. And the reason it does that is because when you have darker areas, if you leave the exposure on longer, the more light will go into the camera lens. So that's why they slow the frame rate down, so that more light can go in.
So like it'd take a longer time to take the picture?
Yep. Okay, front camera.
Shebang.
It's a basic 8 megapixel front camera, no flash, nothing fancy. It does have selfie mode. It has beauty mode, yeah, which we don't need, of course.
Yeah.
It has smile detection, and there's an auto mode also. So, and there's auto mode on the back cameras as well. What else do we see on there? On the top, there's a jack, right? That is a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. A lot of people, or not a lot, but a few manufacturers are starting to give up on the jack, and I go back and forth on that. All my headsets now are Bluetooth, so it's not a big deal to me. but I can see where audiophiles that don't want to lose any quality in their recordings would be upset if the 3.5 millimeter jack wasn't there. But it's there, so you don't have to worry about it. And then what do we have on the bottom for jacks?
Speakers and charging.
Okay, so the charger, we'll talk about that. USB-C, Qualcomm standard quick charge 2.0, which I like. It makes it easy to get accessories that are standard for Qualcomm 2.0 quick charge, and USB-C is the way to go. If you don't have USB-C in 2017, I feel that that's a step behind, but it might not be a big deal to some of you. What about buttons? What kind of buttons do we have on there?
The on and off button.
Okay, so power button, yes.
And then just volume.
Volume rockers, right? How do they feel? What
Easy.
solid?
To press.
Easy
Yeah.
to press? Okay. Are they loose at all? Do they?
No, not loose.
Okay. And then some miscellaneous thing. Oh no, what else? There's a button on the front, isn't there?
Oh yeah, the like home button.
Home button, yes. But that also
The finger.
doubles as a fingerprint reader, right? And I know from seeing other videos that you actually have to push the fingerprint reader in order for it to read your fingerprint.
So not just like slide over it.
Right.
You have to actually.
Just push it, and it'll turn the phone on, and it'll read your fingerprint. If the phone display is already on, then you can just put your finger over it, and it'll read it.
Okay.
But the reason, obviously, for having to press it is because it does act as a home button as well once the phone is unlocked. So now on back to the bottom again. There's 2 ports on the bottom, correct? One is a speaker.
Yeah.
It's a down-firing speaker. While not as good as ZTE's flagship Axon 7 with the dual front-facing speakers, it does claim to have hi-fi audio. GSM Arena quotes that there's a 24-bit DAC inside of there, but I could not find anywhere else where anyone would prove that. ZTE only calls it high-quality audio. So I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but hopefully we'll do a review later on, and we'll let you know what the quality is of the sound. Then the other port on the bottom is a microphone. So when you're talking either speakerphone or on a phone call, it'll use that down-firing microphone. And then on the top, there's also a pinhole, isn't there?
Yeah.
That is a second microphone used for noise cancellation. So when you're on a phone call, that top microphone, whatever it hears in the background, it will cut out of the call and only play what you can hear from the bottom microphone.
Okay.
So that's why there's two mics in there. Okay, inside we have running Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow. Not sure about Nougat yet. ZTE has been quiet on whether or not they're going to include Nougat in a future update. I'd be surprised if it didn't, because the Blade V8, which is not released in the US, already has Nougat, and the Blade V8 Pro here has the Marshmallow, but they're staying quiet. I'm assuming that if they sell enough units, then they will upgrade the unit. That would be my take on it, but that's just a guess on my part. ZTE does put their Mi Favor skin over the top, their user interface. It's difficult to say whether or not it's a good skin. Some people just don't like skins at all. They want stock Android and that's it. Other people that have used it say the skin is great. It's not heavy. It's not bloated like some other skins are from other manufacturers. And I don't like to call out other manufacturers, so I leave that to you to decide. But I've used Mi Favor in the past. It is light, and as long as it's working, it's not a bad user interface. Also on the inside, the Snapdragon 625 octa-core processor. You know what that means?
No.
Snapdragon 625. The CPU is the processor. It's the brains.
Oh.
Okay. The 625. Very impressed with this processor on other devices. It has the right amount of power and it has the right amount of battery saving to make this an excellent choice for a mid-tier phone, which is what this is. So props to ZTE for providing a great processor in this phone. It also has Adreno 506 graphics processor. That is for when you're playing games. Okay, graphics processor will render those graphics quicker or not quicker depending on which processor you use, and make those games run smooth. Obviously, if you're gaming heavy, this may not be the best choice for you. But if you're gaming heavy, I'm also assuming that you're not looking at a mid-tier phone in the first place. But still great for what I would use it for and what you're going to use it for. So nothing to worry about there. 3140 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty solid, which is kind of what makes the phone heavy also.
Yeah.
Okay. You should get a good battery life out of this. The display is not power hungry because it's IPS LCD, it's not AMOLED, and it's also a great processor for battery life. So I'm expecting great things, but obviously being so early in the game, there's not many battery reviews out for the Blade V8 Pro, but hopefully soon there will be. Early reviews have come back positive, but obviously it's just too early to tell what kind of battery life you're going to end up getting. 3 gig of RAM, 32 gig of ROM, perfect sizes for a mid-tier phone. 3 gig of RAM gives you enough to keep multiple programs open at the same time, and 32 gig of memory also gives you enough room to do plenty of media storage. Obviously, this device isn't targeted to power users like I mentioned, so 3 and 32 should be good for most typical users. I mentioned earlier that you can add a 128 gig SD card on the side. There is one thing that I want to bring to your attention, that you cannot use the SD card for moving apps. All your apps have to stay in RAM, unfortunately. But that could be coming in a software update. We don't know. And the SD card can only be used for media, your songs, your movies, your pictures, all that kind of thing. So a little disappointment there, but I'm not a heavy user, so it doesn't bother me so much. We'll see how quick she can fill up that space, because there are a lot of selfies to be taken, obviously. 4G LTE bands. There's some controversy going on here as to what the LTE bands are. We know they're listed at 2, 4, 5, 7, and 12. Notice I did not mention band 17. Band 17 is AT&T's primary LTE band, and I can't say in confidence that this device will work 100% on AT&T, depending where you live and what band you use for AT&T. But videos have shown that the phone does work on band 17. So I don't have an honest answer for you whether you can use this device, 100% on AT&T at this time. Hopefully that'll become more clear as more reviews come in. The LTE modem is rated at Cat 4, so that means that you'll get speeds of up to 150 meg. So that's pretty solid there. Tethering, Wi-Fi Direct, and Hotspot is all supported, right? Mm-hmm. And it supports Bluetooth 4.2, which is, the latest and greatest for now. Wi-Fi supports 802.11a, b, g, n, and AC. And it also does dual band, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, which for me is ridiculous on a phone at this price point. Great for ZTE to include that. Hopefully it works well. I don't see why it wouldn't, but I just think that was a top-notch move by ZTE to include that at a phone of this price point. Also surprising at this price point is NFC is included. NFC is another way that you can share your data. If you want to send a picture to someone, you can tap your phones together, and you can share data. You can also use NFC for Android Pay, so that's good as well.
That
Also included is your standard array of sensors, accelerometer, proximity, compass, ambient light, and gyroscope. All standard sensors in a phone this day. I think even in a mid-tier phone, they're all required. This device can be found at ZTE Direct, at B&H, and at Newegg. And the price for all of this is $229. All three sites I mentioned are offering different kinds of deals. One gives you a free case, one gives you Bluetooth headphones and a charger, and there's just all kinds of deals to be had. And at this price point, it's a ridiculous deal. I don't think you can go wrong. Thanks for tuning in to our first ever video, the unboxing of the ZTE Blade V8 Pro. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll be back soon to give a review of the device, right? Yeah, okay, and we'll talk to you later.